everybody, welcome back to another video. Now I'm not gonna lie, as a kid, I was really obsessed with like Nickelodeon. You get home from school, 3 o'clock on channel, 54, 55, whatever channel it came on. Nonetheless, my eyes was glued to the TV. And I started thinking to myself, I'm like, maybe this is why I remember these shows so much, because the internet wasn't how it is today. All of the good TV shows from like Nickelodeon came from, back in the days when these shows was up on TV and stuff like that. Now, I'm not old, but when these shows was a thing, I was about, 15 years old. I was about 10 years old and stuff like that. But today I wanted to get into, have a little rewatch in the back of my memory box and tell y'all my top 4 favorite Nickelodeon shows from back in the day. It's really top 4 because I only really used to watch these 4 shows, and I know there was like some other bangers back in the day, but it's just something that I couldn't get into at the time. So starting with number 4 is iCarly. Now, for me personally, it's iCarly because I just think it revolves so heavily around Sam just like bullying Freddie for like no reason. Now, as a kid, it was funny to me, but it's like growing up and like watching it back, it's just like, if you really think about it, most of the laugh track came from Sam pretty much like bullying Freddie. Like, if you go back and watch, you will see that the plot heavily revolves around that one thing, which is Sam pretty much just like bullying Freddie every single episode. I think it was actually like something crazy, like 3 episodes where Sam didn't bully Freddie. So that just kind of gives you the idea that most of the show plot just involves around that one thing. And me personally, that's why it's number 4. And number 3 is something, honestly, me personally, number 3 and number 2 is irreversible, but I will personally prefer number 2, which I'll get into in a second. But number 3 for me is Victorious. Now, Victorious can arguably be, to me, there's one undisputed number 1 answer, and I'll get to that in a second. But to me, number 3 is Victorious. Because to me, like, Victorious, like, the whole scenario was like so cool. So like back in the day when I used to watch Victorious, when it came out in like 2010 or something like that, they go to school, they had like the cool little lockers. Tori had like that big house. It just looked like they had like so much freedom. And to me as a kid, that's what I wanted school to be like. But to me, Victorious is only number 3 because I just didn't think it was I just didn't think it was like quite as funny as number 2 and number 1 is. And this is just my opinion, but I just think number 3, another thing that kind of made me fall in love with the show was obviously like the musical performance and stuff like that. And plus I think, to me, like, what was off about Victorious too is that you had it's kind of like similar to with Sam and Freddie. You had Jade and Cat. It was like a lot of like bullying and stuff like that. And honestly, like some of it was pretty much like justified. I remember like one episode when Cat bought like a fake like snowblower and juicer from some little store or whatever, and she like juiced like back pizza, and she put fake snow that she said can is very like toxic, and it got all over their food. I mean, some of that was like pretty much like justified, but I think one thing that really kind of bothered me is that Jade wasn't, so Sam from iCarly, she was more of actions instead of verb, but I felt like Jade was like this tough girl, but if you like really look back, she really didn't like mean business if you really think about it. Because I remember when like Robbie was doing like his robberosity or something like that, and Sam would have not like took that. Sam would have been straight up on business that very instant. But for some reason, Jay was never like that violent person, and I just didn't think that went well with her character, because like I said, she pretty much had like the similar character that Sam had. But instead, you can watch iCarly back. Sam was all business. Meanwhile, Jade was just like this tough girl that didn't really like stand on business that much. Now, number two. Now, some people might not agree with this. I'm already knowing, but number two for me, this is me personally. Number two is Zoe 101. Now, hear me out before you get your balls wet. Hear me out. Zoe, I think for me, what worked so much for me with Zoe 101, man, is really just like how the comedy comes off just like natural. It just feel to me, it just feel like an organic moment rather than them playing like a laugh track like 20 times to tell you what's funny for you to laugh. And I think for me, just like the lack of the laugh track up on Zoe 101, I just think it works so well. But yeah, Zoe 101, man, that to me that was one of my favorite shows up on Nickelodeon. I really liked the organic nature of that show. It was just and it I like that the plot just wasn't either in school or in their house. For example, like the spring break, the when they went to the beach and stuff like that. And I think they just have like more variety of like where the plot takes place. And also the plot doesn't involve around like any type of like bullying or like, anything like that. It just everything to me, everything just comes off like way more natural and stuff like that. Like yeah, Logan was like the jerk of the show, but his character wasn't about bullying. His character was basically like, I'm better than you and I'm untouchable because I got all this money. Whereas like Jade up on the other hand, she was supposed to have a similar character to Sam, but when stuff went down, she basically just did like more talking and not enough action and stuff like that. Now, me personally, it's two reasons that Zoe 101 isn't number one for me. Number one is because what I got number one is just actually just like way better, and number two is because of like the constant like character rotations that they had. Like I know Lola came in, I believe in season two. You had Nicole. I think she left after like season one. You had Dana, who also left after like season one. Actually, sorry, I think Nicole left after season two. But either way, yeah, you had like these multiple character changes, and then you had James. He replaced like Chase for like half a season or like a full season. So you had like these multiple changes, and also I've always felt that like Zoe, even though she was portrayed to be the main character, I just felt like she wasn't like the best character of the show. So to me, that's why I have this number two for like a lot of reasons. But nonetheless, I do still enjoy it more than iCarly and Victorious, mainly because of the absence of the laugh track. But number one up on my list, it is subjective, but number one up on my list is easily Drake and Josh. Now, Drake and Josh, man, it reminds me of like you give them a simple project. You give like the Treehouse. How many casts or shows can make a legendary episode by just being stuck in a treehouse or being stuck in someone's house like they was up in like Vicious Tiberius that episode, or like the wedding when it's just like them two. But how many shows can really thrive upon being handed basically like to build a house? They basically was handed like a block, and then they did the most with that house. That to me, that what reminded me of Drake and Josh. I mean, I just think it's so incredible how they didn't need a plot, and then they was just able to bounce off of each other. And there's so many episodes like that where the plot of the episode just heavily revolve around the comedic Drake and Josh. And I think what made Drake and Josh so incredible, man, is that the cast just like felt whole. And like I think up on Drake and Josh, and they had like the Merry Christmas Drake and Josh Go Hollywood. So they showed that they can perform without the live track, because those two movie specials didn't have a live track. But they're just so like comedic, and it was just like incredible to my childhood, because like I said, is I can recycle so many lines that Drake and Josh gave us, so many moments that they gave us. And to me, that will hold like a special place in my heart, because like I said, that basically was my childhood. All four of these shows that I just named was basically like literally my childhood. So when I got home from school, I'll sit down, do that. Sometimes I'll do that before I did my homework, but still, it was just so crazy to me to see how old we're getting, and like these shows that basically was our childhood. Because like I said, back in the day, 10 15 years ago, yeah, there were internet, but the internet wasn't like what the internet is today. Now you have, like stuff to watch on, you got TikTok, all that other stuff. But like I said, man, a lot of people ain't gonna agree with this list, but these are just like the top four of my childhood TV shows. Really, the only four that I used to watch. I had like a few other up on like Disney Channel or something like that. But as far as Nickelodeon, to me, Nickelodeon was the spot to watch your favorite show back in the day. But yeah, man, those are my top four favorite Nickelodeon shows. If y'all agree or disagree, just let me know. Until next time, I'll catch y'all boys tomorrow. Peace.